go ahead and get out your worksheet from yesterday, your 9.1 continued worksheet. And I have the answers up here so that you can see how you did on that worksheet to see if we're adding and subtracting correctly. So what you can do is just pause the video on this screen so you can see your answers. And I'm just going to scroll through so you can see the other answers, and go ahead and again just pause so you can check your answers on your worksheet. So here are the first 10. And that'll give you the 5 or so that you couldn't see. Here are your next ones, 13 through 18, 19 through 21, and then 22, 23, and 24 at the top, and then 25 through 27, and then there are your last 3, 28 through 30. Oh, whoops, there's number 30. Okay, today we're going to do 2 lessons together. So we're going to multiply binomials today. And just as a reminder, binomials are 2 terms. So we're going to have 2 terms that we're multiplying by 2 terms for a total of 4 terms. And we're going to use this acronym, FOIL, which maybe you've heard before. F stands for first, O stands for outside, I stands for inside, and L stands for last. And so it's going to look like this. You're going to do the first terms in the parentheses. You're going to take 2x times x, which is 2x squared. Then you're going to do the outside terms, which is 2x times 4, which would be 8x. And then the inside terms, 3 times x is 3x. And then your last terms, 3 times 4 is 12. And then your final step, your middle terms are always going to be alike. And you're going to put those together. 8x plus 3x would be 11x. So my final answer would be 2x squared plus 11x plus 12. So let's try some. Okay, here's our first example. So we're going to do our first. 6h times 2h. So I take 6 times 2, which is 12. H times h is h squared. Then we're going to take 6h times positive 3, which is a positive 18h. And then I'm going to take, notice that's a negative 7. Negative 7 times 2h is a negative 14h. And then negative 7 times positive 3 is a negative 21. Then I'm going to combine those middle terms. 18h minus 14h would give us 4h. I'm going to bring down my negative 21, bring down my 12h squared, and my 4h was positive. And there's my final answer. So notice when you multiply 2 binomials together, what you get out, this is a 3 term, is a trinomial. Okay? Now, we're going to look at some special cases in 9.4, but the concept is the same. So on this first one, we have x plus 7 squared, which just means you're taking x plus 7 times x plus 7, and then you're going to do FOIL. So my first, x times x, is x squared. My outside, x times 7, is 7x. My inside, 7 times x is 7x. And my last, 7 times 7 is 49. And then I'm going to combine my like terms in the middle, which would be 14x, and that's positive. Bring down my x squared, bring down my 49. And there's my final answer. So if you notice what's happening here, my final answer, you're squaring this term. You're squaring the last term. That's your coefficient that you're getting out, 49. So you square the first and you get x squared. Square the last and you get 49. And then If you put this together, that would be 7x, and then you double it, and that's where you get your 14x if you want a shortcut. Okay, so this one, again, 4k minus 3 squared just means I'm writing it 2 times. And it's perfectly okay to just write it 2 times, and then you do your FOIL. So 4k times 4k. So 4 times 4 is 16. K times k is k squared. Then I do my outside. 4k times negative 3 is negative 12k. Do my inside. Negative 3 times 4k is negative 12k. And then my last, negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And then I'm going to combine my like terms. That would give me a negative 24k. Bring down my 16k squared and bring down my plus 9. And there's my final answer. So again, all that we did was we squared the first. 4k times 4k is 16k squared. Squared the second. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Put those together, that's a negative 12k, and double it, which is negative 24k in the middle. Okay, now another special case is when everything looks the exact same in the parentheses, except you have a plus and you have a minus. So I want you to think of it as these numbers, a plus 8 and a minus 8. What would happen if I put together a plus 8 and a minus 8? Well, hopefully in your head you're saying, well, that cancels. We get a 0. So the same idea is going to happen when we FOIL this. So let's see. So we're going to take x times x, which is x squared. Then we're going to do our outside. X times negative 8 is negative 8x. 8 times x is positive 8x. And last, 8 times negative 8 is negative 64. Then I'm going to combine my middle terms. A negative 8x and a positive 8x is a 0x, which means I don't write it. So all I have is x squared minus 64. And there's my final answer. My middle terms canceled out. That's where that 0 comes into play. So on this one, if we do it right, our middle terms should cancel out. 3x times 3x would be 9x squared. Outside, 3x times negative 2, negative 6x. Inside, 2 times 3x is positive 6x. And last, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Combine your middle. Negative 6x and positive 6x is 0x, so it goes away. So I just have 9x squared minus 4 as my final answer. Okay, that completes the video. You now will have a worksheet to work on.